Okay, so today must just be like the sucky day. So, past few days, I've been sort of getting like a little precursor to what usually happens before a bunch of cysts burst. Okay, so I've been kind of just watching this happen and watching this happen. And about a year and a half ago, I was when I first had grown these cysts and they had started bursting and stuff. And I had gotten an ultrasound that like showed where they all were and how many they were and how big they were and everything like this. And I was supposed to, on a regular basis, be going and like keeping track of the sizes of them because I have to do that in like, yeah. So I never went. And they had burst a couple, like three more times, and then I still kept avoiding going. But I was still doing things for them, like natural remedies that I use, and just kind of hoping and praying that they were working, but not knowing. So, like I said, few days I've had these like things going on, and I was like feeling this sort of dull pain and kind of going, I think something's gonna happen. And then this morning when I woke up, I felt like how I did before they would burst. So by 8 o'clock, I had called a couple of friends who totally abandoned me and said, "Oh, that's too bad," or "Oh, I'll pray for you." Yeah. Okay, I've just described to you the fact that I'm like doubled over in pain and that I can't take care of my 3-year-old and all this stuff. And they're like, "Ah." I'm like, okay. So I end up having to call my husband's shop. So I called Gary's shop. And everybody's at a meeting. And I missed them by 5 minutes. So I tell them, well, look, the only person that's still at the office, I say, look, I'm needing to either go to an urgent care or an emergency room, so I need somebody to come help me with my son, blah, blah, blah. And then I try to go and make an appointment to get the transfer so that I can have authorization to go to the urgent care or the emergency room, which could not happen because the clinic was closing in 45 minutes from the time that I called it because they were taking half the day off for a training day, and then tomorrow they're closed. So I got to tell them what was going on, and then they told me that they were going to call me back. They were going to have the triage nurse call me back, and that the triage nurse was going to grant the approval for me to go. I told them which number to call me at. Meanwhile, the other person who was left at the shop calls me, and this is the husband and wife who actually watched my older boys when I was giving birth to Jasper. So we've known them actually 4 years because we had known them before this space as well. Good guy. Okay. And my kids really love him. So, he comes over. And, he's like the most easygoing guy, and he is from Illinois and St. Louis, both at the same time, and he doesn't spank, and he's just like the most mellow dude, and he's like 6'3", but he's like this big, giant, nice, sweet person. He's just like a cool guy. So he comes to hang out with me while I'm like waiting for the nurse to call, who, of course, spends 2 hours calling me at the wrong number, which I don't realize until 2 hours later, and the pain's increasing. And I'm like, okay, I've got to get them to call me. So I'm going to call them back and see what's up. I call them back. They've called me 3 times. Blah, blah, blah. I have to call this certain number. It's like this ridiculous runaround. And then I finally get to somebody else who says, okay, well, we're going to have the triage nurse call you, but just want you to know it could take 2 more hours. I'm like, look, I've been in pain since 8 o'clock, okay? I don't want to wait till 2 p.m. for them to call me. But of course I can't go because then I would have like a $1,200 bill all of a sudden for no reason. So she says, well, I just wanted you to know, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. So, then all of a sudden, the triage nurse calls me back. And I get the approval. So then Matt drops me off at the hospital, takes Jasper to lunch, hangs out with him, plays ball with him, lets him ride his bike, whatever. And then proceeds to text me while I'm there and say, I'm sorry, but I can't take your boys. I can pick them up from school, but I can't take them to their appointments, which are their therapist. And he doesn't tell me why, so I don't know. And my cell phone is dying, so I can't exactly text him back. Which, my cell phone is dying probably because I took that little video of the 7 seconds of me in the waiting room going, here I am. Yeah, or whatever. So, I never hear back about what's going on, right? And I'm just waiting there. I'm waiting there for about 3 hours. And finally, I get to go back and get the exam. The pictures, where they take the pictures, okay. The ultrasound. Oh! So, that's the exam that I've been avoiding for 1.5 years, right? Oh, joy. So, I lived through that, which actually wasn't as bad as I remembered, so whatever. And, then I go back to the waiting room to just wait. And basically, I'm laying down now on like 2 chairs because they haven't given me a bed or anything. And somehow, magically, I get a bed. Okay, super. So I'm laying in that bed, and it's in the hallway. So there's like a bunch of us all in the hallway. And I'm like right on the corner, so anytime somebody clips the corner, I get knocked. Whoops, there goes my hairpin. After 3 hours of that, I finally pop up and I say, can you please move this? He's like, oh, sure. This guy who just knocked me. In between that time, one of the friends of mine who wasn't able to come, her mother, who I've massaged for a very long time, who used to help me clean my house and make chickens for me, and she took care of me like as a mom when Gary was gone last time. I'm like, oh my gosh, Monica. And she's like, hi, I'll be right back. And of course she never came back. So this whole time I'm like, with nobody, I'm like, I can't handle this. 6 o'clock at night, 6:30, sorry, 6:30, I still, they don't let you drink or eat, okay? So I've had nothing because I didn't even eat breakfast. I didn't even take my pills this morning. And like the pain's increasing. I'm about a 7, okay? In between that time, they take blood, and this horrible port. I have never had a port be painful before, ever. And it was so painful, I made them take it out in 5 minutes. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm going to rip this thing out. And the ladies look at me like, oh, you're such a baby. I'm like, whatever. So 6:30, this social worker comes back to talk to me. And she's like, your kids are out here and your husband's boss or something. And we just want to know what you're going to do with your kids and the 3-year-old. And how old is your oldest? And I'm just like, I don't have any answers for you. Can I go out into the waiting room and talk to him so I can figure out what's going on? She's like, oh, okay, because we were going to want them to come back. And I'm like, no, don't separate the kids and make sure I need to see the youngest, okay? So I work myself finally out, walking painfully to get out there. And yeah, so we're figuring out what to do. And basically, he has to go to work tomorrow, which I'm not even going to talk about. So basically what we end up deciding is that he's going to just drop the kids off at home, and the boys are going to, give him a bath. Oh my gosh, I have a lead. The boys are I'm going to take off my lead. Isn't this gross? But sorry. The boys are going to, oh, it hurts. The boys are going to give him a bath. Ugh, see, leads. And like put him to bed and everything. And, they've taken care of each other before, so it's fine with me or whatever. And he's like hemming and hawing over it, and I'm like, don't worry about it, it's okay. Even though, whatever. So he says, well, just call me back, you know, when you're getting discharged. I'm like, sure. So finally they leave. I lost another hairpin. Finally they leave, and I go back into the waiting area. I've lost my bed. And the nurse, who was the first nurse who took me in, looks at the patient tech. And I'm like walking in there holding my side painfully, right? And she says, you know, she had a bed before. Can you help her get a bed? And he looks at me and says, well, since you're ambulatory, we like to keep the beds for people who can't walk. Okay, I wanted to curse him. There's like a certain curse from the Psalms, but I didn't. And I looked at him and I said, unbelievable. And I walked away. Okay. So then I go and I lay down on the 2 chairs again, right? And somehow the easy recliner, the lady leaves it. So I like hop in there and I like fall to my side and I'm like, I just burst into tears. And I call Donna. And Donna's the first lady who introduced herself to me at the church. She came and she took care of me until 10 o'clock at night. Took till 10. And Dr. Lowry, who was very soft-spoken and really nice, he looked at my results, and it wasn't my tumors, or cysts. Okay, in fact, all the cysts on my left ovary are completely gone, and I had like anywhere between, when they would count, 25 and 42. Gone. Okay, I have 1 cyst left, and it's only a small one, and it's only on my right side, and I've never even had ones on my right side before. So yay, all that natural stuff I did was working. But we realized that it's scar tissue that's pulling from, my uterus. So because it got tipped back. So I need to, I have a thing I need to do for that. So that's what was wrong with me. Then they gave me all kinds of pain pills, which is why I'm like this, and told me that my potassium was low, which I eat like 2 bananas a day, so I have no idea. So that was my day, and that was what happened. And yeah, so it was a weird and bad day, but kind of some good news in the end, and all kinds of other stuff in between. So there you go. I guess I'm going to go sing Akathis tomorrow and get to meet the bishop. All right. Good night, everybody. My blessings of peace.